Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all my Melffy Spright Yugioh deck profile for September 2022. A lot of you have been requesting an update to the Melfy deck with the sprites mixed in. The sprites were a level 2 engine introduced in Power of the Elements. That definitely does buff up a lot of different level 2 decks, Melfy is included, just with the overall playstyle and consistency search that the sprite engine can provide to a lot of different decks. So I incorporated it into the Melfy deck for this deck profile, which focuses on summoning out a good number of different Melfy beast monsters and some of the more generic beasts lineup. But the big plays will come into focus with the rank 2 and link 2 engines that we run along with the sprite monsters and the new Melfy monsters. It's pretty consistent and I'm happy for it. I wanted to go for more of a meta route with this deck profile compared to the pure Melfy deck that I did, which was more of a fun version to build. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Melfy monsters, we are running 3 Melfy Wally. Wally just provides so much more consistency for the Melfy monsters. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, or if an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you can return this card to the hand. Then you can special summon 2 Melfy monsters from your deck with different names from each other, except for Melfy Wally. And during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, and you can only use this effect of Wally once per turn. But giving you those 2 level 2 monsters can definitely help with just the special summon power and the bounce power that the other Melfy monsters can provide in the deck, as long as they're different named monsters. For those monsters, I am also running 2 Melfy Caddy. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, or if an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you can return it to the hand, then add 1 beast monster from your deck to your hand, except for Melfy Caddy. And during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. So the search power is very, very useful with Caddy, but being level 2 monsters, they work very well for just having level 2s on the field to then special summon out with the sprite engine as well. I run 2 Melfy Puppy as well, with the option of when your opponent normal or special summons a monster, or if your opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you can return it to the hand to special summon 1 level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck, except for Melfy Puppy. You can go for another Melfy monster, or even one of the Calentosas that we run in the deck for the destruction power that this card can provide. For the one-ofs for the Melfy monsters, I run 1 Melfy Fenny, 1 Melfy Penny for the tuner options, and 1 Melfy Pony. Just one-ofs, that's all you need. These cards can be searched out with Melfy Wally. You just get more of a search and special summon with Puppy and Caddy. That's why I up the numbers of these cards. And Wally setting up 2 monsters can even just give you access to your sprite engine in the deck. That's why I ran 3 of those. But Penny is so you have your synchro play. Fenny is so then you have the option to special summon 1 from the hand, and Pony working with recycling cards from the graveyard. For the other special summon power, I also run 2 Calentosa. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a beast type monster, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy that target. So whether you special summon it off of Puppy or one of your other beast extra deck monsters, you at least have a destruction play to use against your opponent. Sadly, if you special summon this card off of Gigantic Sprite, you won't be getting the special summon since all of the sprite monsters are Thunder type. And for more special summon power, I also run 3 Nimble Beaver. This card being a beast type was just an extra bonus for the Melfy deck. So definitely using this card over Deep Sea Diva just for the special summon power when it's normal summon to special summon 1 level 3 or lower Nimble monster from your deck or graveyard. So then even if you just have 1 copy of Beaver left in the deck, you have the 2 others in the graveyard, you can still special summon out to the field and then have your Xyz or Link combo right there to use. For the Sprite engine, I run 3 Sprite Blue. Now, this is definitely, I would say, a pricey card. If you didn't have blue to use in this deck, you can always replace it with some of the other Sprite numbers that I run. But this card searches out additional monsters, so it just continues the engine, being able to search out your next target, which is Sprite Jet. This one searches out a Sprite Spell or Trap, which in turn just special summons even more from the deck to the field, just giving you that +2 off of each search because of these cards. And then I also run 1 Sprite Carrot and 1 Sprite Red for the additional Sprite monsters with Spell and Trap negation for the both of these. If you don't have Sprite Blues, I know, like I said, they're pricey, you can increase the numbers of your Jet, Red, and Carrot by 1 each to replace each copy of this card. And then for the other monsters, for the hand trap lineup, I run 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring and 3 Effect Veiler, just for more monster negation with Effect Veiler and search and graveyard setup for Ash Blossom to prevent. You just need a couple level 2 monsters. That's the scary part of the Sprite engine. So even just one Melfy monster and one Sprite monster could be enough, and then just having hand trap lineups for the rest, along with the last 2 just being 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit for more of the destruction power on the field, whether your opponent try to activate an already face-up continuous spell or field spell or one of their monsters. And that is it for the monsters. We do run a pretty high monster count, but they all run very, very well together to set up the main engine of the deck. But for these spells, I run 3 Sprite Starter, just more special summoning with this card of a Sprite monster from your deck, but then you lose life points equal to it. And then you can't summon for the rest of this turn, except for Link 2 or level or rank 2 monsters, which really doesn't shut you down for the deck at all. I'd say the biggest weakness is obviously you can't go into Merry Melfys, the new Synchro monster we're running, but it's one of the limitations you just have to take for this deck when summoning any of your cards. And I also run 1 Sprite Smashers, another search off of Sprite Jet to then have a banish answer on the field, and 1 Call by the Grave. So you have, once again, an answer to any of your opponent's graveyard cards, whether they try to hand trap you themselves or just one of their own monster setups. And then for the traps, I run 3 Infinite Impermanence for the monster negation, especially if your opponent goes first and you activate this card. One way they can activate Call by the Grave, obviously, is by having this on the field for you to negate that monster effect, and it's also not a once per turn. And then lastly, 2 Melfy Playhouse, with just how strong the level 2 engine is to go into Xyz monsters. You can detach any number of materials from Beast Xyz monsters you control and target that many cards your opponent controls and return them to the hand. And all Beast Xyz monsters you control gain 500 attack for each material detached to activate this, just being a power-up boost, but also with less restrictions for some of your Xyz monsters to use and go into. You can just use the Sprite engine to summon those cards out. And that is it for the main deck, and I'll move on to the extra deck. I run 2 Melfy of the Forest. You can detach 1 material from this card to add 1 Melfy card from your deck to your hand. If another face-up Melfy you control returns to your hand, except during the damage step, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and it cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated while this card's face-up on the field. You can only use each effect of Melfy of the Forest once per turn. So more search power, so you can't search for the Sprite engine, but you do have the option to search out for a good number of cards, including your Melfy cards. You can just search for Melfy Playhouse and have this card set up and ready to go for the bounce power by detaching the rest of the materials off of your Melfy of the Forest. And I also run 1 Joyous Melfys and 1 Melfy Mommy. For more of the beast plays, the Melfy of the Forest just needs 2 level 2 monsters, so you could use Sprite monsters to make this card, but Melfy Mommy and Joyous Melfys do require beast monsters, so you really just use these with the Melfy engine or your Nimble engine or any of the other cards like Kalantos we run. The Sprite engine will be saved mostly for the other Xyz monsters we run, which include the 2 Gigantic Sprite. Now, the special summon with Gigantic can also stop Nibiru that your opponent may try to use, but also be able to get you any of your Melfys on the field, since it just special summons a level 2 after you detach, giving you any of your Melfys. And the big one you want to go for is obviously the Melfy Wally setup on the field to then in turn give you 2 more Melfys from this card bouncing back to the hand. I also run 2 for the rest of the rank 2s, 1 Sky Cavalry Centauriar and 1 Cat Shark, with these plays being more for the Gigantic Sprite boost power that you can do with the combo with the Cat Shark, and Centauria to then use to go into Downward Magician and Sky Thunder Zeus for more field wiping against your opponent. And then for the Link monsters, I run 2 Sprite Elf, more special summon from the graveyard, especially, once again, more of the Sprite engine. Also, just being able to protect them from being targeted by card effects if they point to that arrow is just an added bonus. And for the Link monsters, I run 1 IP Masquerena to finish them off, and 1 Nightmare Unicorn, with our only synchro being the 1 copy of Merry Melfys. Just remember, Sprite Elf, with that setup, can help to go into this card, but cards like Gigantic Sprite and also Sprite Starter will lock you into Link rank and level 2 special summon, so you won't be able to go into this card, but still, just like the Zeus play, you'll just have to play around when you want to summon this synchro monster add-on to the field. And then as for some of the go-to combos in the deck, like I said, the Nimble Beaver will definitely help for a lot of summons, just being able to get you another copy, and then overlaying the two together to then go into your main monster, which is Gigantic Sprite, which you can then use to detach for this card, and special summon the Melfy Wally from your deck onto the field. And then when your opponent normal special summons a monster, or if an opponent's monster targets this card for your attack, you return it to the hand and special summon 2 Melfy monsters from your deck, giving you the 2 searches needed to then just continue your plays the following turn. If you go for a penny, you can go for that synchro play, or you can then also just overlay the 2 together and either have your Melfy Beast play for that summon, or even the Melfy of the Forest to then search out your Xyz play, being able to detach 1 from this and set up your Melfy Playhouse on the field as well. The Sprite engine can even just go into that as well. If you have your Sprite Blue, and if you special summon off the starter, you'll get the search effect off of this card also, being able to add Jet to your hand, searching out Jet, which can in turn add another starter for you to use later on. And then you just have your 2 to use right then and there to overlay into your Melfy of the Forest. Remember, this is the only Xyz you can go into with this because it just requires 2 level 2s, while Melfy Mommy and Joyous Melfy require Beast Monsters. Detaching 1 off of this, getting the same search that we played off of before to then have your go-to play for your Melfy Wally, which says if you special summoned off of the Sprite starter and then special summon Jet, you still have your normal summon, so you can just then normal summon the Melfy Wally and have the same Melfy combo to set up the following turn if your opponent tries to attack or normal or special summon a monster. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, I was definitely happy with the results of the Sprites mixed in with the Melfys. They definitely add a lot of consistency to a bunch of level 2 decks, and this one included was one a lot of people were asking that I update, obviously, with a deck profile. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.